Hello everyone, we will be going to discuss our the new session, that is the all subjects which are given in UPSC syllabus, and we will be moving towards the whole of the syllabus as per given in the syllabus as per given in the UPSC syllabus, chapter wise or subject wise, that is art and culture. Let's do first in the terms of ancient and medieval times. So first of all we will be discussing the GS paper 1, that is divided into 4 parts, that is ancient and medieval, art and culture, as well as modern time. Then the world history, and then society, and finally we will discuss the geography part. And I hope you keep your pen and paper in your hand, so that we will be able to make our running notes, so that we could be able to revise all those information which are important for mains as well as prelims point of view. So keep your pen and paper in your hand, and when I will tell you that information, so it's so important for prelims, so you have to write that information in your notes. Okay, so if you keep your running notes, so in the future you will revise all those information in a brief, so that you will be recap all information. Okay, so let's start without delay a time. So this is the R.S. Sharma book, and I have taken this book because in ancient time there is no other book without this we complete the ancient period in the perspective of social, economic, political, technological, as well as art and culture. This book thoroughly cover each and every, not each and every information, but most important information which are generally asked in UPSC paper. Okay, so I will first read the text, and I will tell you that information which are important, and then you will write that information in your notes. Okay, so let's start the first chapter. First chapter is the significance of ancient Indian history. So you keep write the significance of ancient history. Okay, significance of ancient Indian history. Okay, ancient Indian history. What are the various significance? So we will keep on the text. The study of ancient Indian history is important for several reasons. It tells us how, when, and where people developed the earliest cultures in India, how they began undertaking agriculture and stock raising, which made life secure and settled. So, what do you understand by this? That people in ancient time began his life in very unsettled manner, and they were generally practicing hunting and gathering, as well as foraging practices, which they could manage our daily life wages, so that uh, they could get daily life food, or they live generally their livelihood life, secure and what settled life. Okay, generally people settled their uh, at that place which are important for their life and livelihood. So, that for example, people uh, settled in the bank of river as well as in the caves. Okay, next it shows how the ancient Indians discovered and utilized natural resources and how they created the means for their livelihood. We get an idea of how the ancient inhabitants made arrangements for food, shelter, and transport, and learn how they took to farming, spinning, weaving, metalworking, and the like, how they cleared forests, founded villages, cities, and eventually large kingdoms. So these texts are generally telling us that people since the Paleolithic period to Mahajanpad is how people settled their life, how they were living in the premises such as creating art and culture, uh, bead making, okay, during the Harappan period, pottery making, and they also building a large home such as we found in the Harappa and civilization such as Citadel area, Citadel and Lower Town. Okay, in Harappa side. Okay, and we will generally know that how uh, great path is found in Mohenjo-daro site. Okay, so and eventually the large kingdom were emerged during Mahajanpad age, later phase of the what later Vedic period. Okay, people are not considered civilized unless they know how to write. The different forms of writing prevalent in India today are all derived from the ancient scripts. This is also true of the languages that we speak today. The languages we use have roots in ancient times and have developed through the ages. So, in early time, that is the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic period, people don't know how to write. They generally talking with each other through this sign language, not sign language but sign language. The language is that is the intention or the a clue. They're running a hand to show that object so that uh, in front of him that other people generally know his how what is saying for that subject. So they don't generally know the language, and also they didn't know any script so that they could write. Okay, and after that in Indus Valley civilization, people generally know the how to write, but we could not be able to decipher them or read them. Okay, the people what people did write. Okay, but now we are be able to write, speak, as well as telling other person, so that telling other persons he is also recap all those information, such as I am telling you the English language, so you also be able to recap, also able to know, also able to understand my language. Okay, So this is the significance of ancient Indian history. For example, first point you have to write unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Okay, unity in diversity is the first significant point of this significance of ancient Indian history. Okay, and in this under this the ancient Indian history is interesting because many races and tribes intermingled in early India. The pre-Aryans, the Indo-Aryans, the Greeks, the Scythians, the Hunas and Turks and others made India their home. So most of the tribes as well as the invaders which came from Central Asia and also from Persia, Turkey, they invade India and they settled home only in India. Okay, so we cannot say they are foreigner, but they are settled in India as well. Okay, so you should know these people that pre-Aryans, who were pre-Aryans and Indo-Aryans, the Greeks, Scythians, Hunas, Turks and others. Okay, so don't write these information because these are the layman term, and uh, we will know about all these people who are them. Okay, a remarkable feature of ancient Indian culture has been the commingling of cultural elements from the north and south and from the east and west. The Aryan elements are equated with the Vedic and Puranic culture of the north and the pre-Aryan with the Dravidian and Tamil culture of the south. So generally this is telling about the unity in diversity, how people the multiple regional people came in India and settled their life only in India, and they intermingled with each other so that they cooperate with each other for their livelihood as well as for their building empire. Okay, they thought generally different from each other uh, because they don't know, they did not be able to tackle those people which are which way which who are very powerful. For example, Kushan invaded India, Kushanas invaded India, or Indo-Greek came in India and defeated Indian kings and they settled here, and they also flourished their art and culture, their language, literature and flourished trade mostly in South India, we can say. So these are the important for the term that is unity in diversity. Okay. However, many Munda, Dravidian, and other non-Sanskrit terms occur in the Vedic text ascribed to 1500 to 500 BC. That is the this is period generally known as the Vedic period. So many Munda tribe generally found in Jharkhand area, the parts of Bihar and Odisha as well as Chhattisgarh. Dravidian they generally know the people living in South India, and other non-Sanskrit terms occur in the Vedic text described to 1500 to 500 BC. They indicate ideas, institutions, products, and settlements associated with peninsular and non-Vedic India. Similarly, many Pali and Sanskrit terms signifying ideas and institutions developed in the Gangetic plains appear in the earliest Tamil text called the Sangam literature, which is roughly used for the period 300 BC to 600 AD. So the Sanskrit and the Sangam literature generally know about the time period, that is the 300 BC to 600 ADE or CE. The eastern region inhabited by the pre-Aryan tribals. Eastern region inhabited by the pre-Aryan tribals, that is most number of tribals living in the eastern uh, states of India, made its own contribution. The people of this area spoke the Munda or Kularian languages. Several terms that signify the use of cotton, navigation, digging stick, etc. in the Indo-Aryan languages have been traced to Munda languages by linguists. That is, Indo-Aryan languages have been traced to the Munda languages by linguists. Munda tribes Munda tribes had spoken number of languages which are correlate with the Indo-Aryan languages, and they generally consider themselves as a Hindu tribe. Although there are many Munda pockets in Chotanagpur Plateau, the remnants of Munda culture in the Indo-Aryan culture are fairly strong. Many Dravidian terms too are to be found in the Indo-Aryan languages. It is held that changes in the phonetics and vocabulary of the Vedic language can be explained as much on the basis of the Dravidian influence as that of the Munda. That is, the Munda language, Munda tribes as well as Dravidian people also will intermingle with each other, and they also generally speak with each other as they are cooperative in form of the languages. Okay, so it is the unity in diversity. It shows unity in diversity of our Indian subcontinent, our people in living in Indian subcontinent, that is from north to south and east to west. India has since ancient times been a land of several religions. Ancient India saw the birth of Brahmanism or Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism, but all these cultures and religions intermingled and interacted. So generally considered Buddhism and Jainism extracted from Hinduism, and Hinduism also intermingled with Islam. Okay, so this shows that unity in diversity of our India, for our people, in our people, and they also they also contributed to, so we are known by the term Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We generally believed our concept is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means earth is one family. Thus, though Indians speak different languages, practice different religions, and observe different social customs, they follow certain common styles of life. Our country shows a deep underlying unity despite great diversity. So multiple languages, multiple people, different types of scripts, and also different types of. So you could write in your note that you under unity in diversity, that is languages, people, tribes, people, tribes, scripts, and other terms, that is social customs, fairs, and a certain common style of life, Okay, so these are the different with each other, but they generally live with each other as cooperative. The ancients strove for unity. The Indian subcontinent was geographically well defined, and its geographical unity was supplemented by cultural integration. It means Indian subcontinent consists from Himalaya to Indian Ocean, mid between Himalaya and Indian Ocean, and from east to west, that is the Burma to Gujarat, okay, or we can say mid Arabian Sea. So this considers as the Indian subcontinent. Though there existed many states, languages, cultures, and communities, gradually people developed territorial identity. A small number of territorial kingdoms were there and fight with each other because, in that sense, in that during that time, there is no concept of state. Only and only they consider a small territory as their country, and most rival were created because of this because of these country, and not generally they consider with each other that is our country. We are living in the subcontinent, which is our land, okay. But instead of this, they consider a small territory, that part belongs to them, okay. The states or territorial units called janpadas were named after different tribes. However, the country as a whole came to be named Aryavarth after the dominant cultural community called the Aryans. So you have to write the janpadas. Janpadas Janpadas consist various different tribes, okay. And next is Aryavarth. Aryavarth considered as northern and central India. Northern, northern and central India. Okay, northern and central area India. Okay, and extended from the eastern to the western sea coast, or plus or and eastern and western coast, such as eastern and western coast, such as Coromandel coast and Malabar coast in South India, and northern Sarkar to Konkan coast in middle India or central India, east and west, and in upper part, that is Gujarat coast and Tamralipti port, that is Gujarat and Kolkata respectively. Okay, the other name by which India was better known was Bharatvarsh, or the land of the Bharatas. Bharat, in the sense of tribe or family, figures in Rigved and Mahabharata. But the name Bharatvarsh occurs in the Mahabharata and post Gupta Sanskrit texts. This name was applied to one of the 9 divisions of the earth, and in the post Gupta period, it denoted India. So, Bharatvarsh, you can write Bharat Bharatvarsh. Bharatvarsh generally considered before Gupta period. Okay, before Gupta period, after Gupta period, or post Gupta period. Bharatvarsh was replaced by India, okay, because many number of foreigners came in India, and they consider it as East Indies, or we can say the Indo-Greek as well as the Islamic ruler or Islamic scholars came in India, and they consider in the people all living in Indian subcontinent, they gave the term Hindu or Hindu, and India, they generally speak Indian people. Okay, next is in Bharatvarsh was replaced by India in the post Gupta period. Okay, next Iranian inscriptions are important for the origin of the term Hindu. The term Hindu occurs in the inscriptions of 5th 6th centuries BC. It is derived from the Sanskrit term Sindhu. Linguistically linguistically it becomes Hindu or H in S becomes H in Iranian. The Iranian inscriptions first mention Hindu as a distinct on the Indus. Okay, in the name of Indus, the people of Iran, Persia or Iranian region, the people of the east known as the Indian. Okay, because of the name in the name of river, that is Indus. Therefore, in the earliest stage, the term Hindu means a territorial unit. It neither indicates a religion nor a community. Our ancient poets, philosophers, and writers viewed the country as an integral unit. They spoke of the land stretching from the Himalayas to the sea as the proper domain of a single universal monarch. The kings who tried to establish their authority from the Himalayas to Cape Comorin and from valleys of Brahmaputra in the east to the land beyond the Indus in the west were universally praised. They were called Chakravartis. Chakravartis means who conquered the whole territory, that is from Himalaya to Cape Comorin in Tamil Nadu and the coast of the bank of Brahmaputra to the parts of Indus region. That king, if defeated all the king in that territory, then he was considered himself as Chakravarti. This form of political unity was attained, and you heard about the Chakravarti in mythological stories, or you watched a number of mythological episodes, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. They was attained this form of political unity was attained at least twice in ancient times. In the 3rd century BC, Asoka considered himself a Chakravarti because he defeated Kalinga. That during that time the largest army in Indian subcontinent, present day located in Orissa. Asoka extended his empire over the whole of India, barring the extreme south, because the South Indian kings also generally consider Asok as his as their what as their sub not no. The Asok considered the South Indian kingdom as his subordinate because they could defeat South Indian kings, but they did not invade South, and already in the South Indian kings generally consider Asok as their king. Okay, his inscriptions are scattered across a major part of the Indo-Pakistan subcontinent and even in Afghanistan. Again, in the 4th century AD, Samudragupta carried his victorious arms from the Ganga to the borders of the Tamil land. In the 7th century, the Chalukya king Pulakesin defeated Harshvardhana, who was called the Lord of the whole of North India. These are the general terms which we will read thoroughly in the next chapter. This is only the significance of ancient Indian history, and we are taking only overview for whole of the ancient period. So you don't need to write each and every king or as well as empire which is showing in this chapter. Okay, we will read, we will know about them in a whole manner, in a section wise, that is the social, economic, political, ecological, or technological point of view. Okay, so don't write anything which are given in this text, and I will tell you what write in your running notes. Okay, so again in the 4th century AD, Samudragupta carried his victorious arms from the Ganga to the borders of the Tamil land. In the 7th century, Chalukya king Pulkesin defeated the Harshvardhana, who was called the lord of the whole of North India, because Chalukyas of Badami and Vatapi, their Chalukya's capital Badami, they defeated Harshvardhana in the bank of river Narmada, and they generally consider the Chalukya king Pulake Sin II considered himself as the Chakravarti of whole of North India. Okay, not Chakravarti, but he considered himself as the king of kings for North India. Okay, despite the lack of political unity, political formations all over India assumed more or less a single form. The idea that India constituted one single geographical unit persisted in the minds of the conquerors and cultural leaders. The unity of India was also recognized by foreigners. Okay, so foreigners came in India as in the form of scholars, travelers, traders, and as well as the invaders, but they considered Indian people as Indian people are living as unity, as in unit. Okay, so they consider themselves as they recognize themselves as they are uh, not foreigner, but they are Indian, as live in unity. They first came into contact with the people living on the Sindhu or the Indus, and so they named the entire country after this river. The word Hind or Hindu is derived from the Sanskrit term Sindhu, and on the same basis, the country became known as India, which is very close to the Greek term for it. India came to be called Hind in the Persian and Arabic languages. In post-Kushan times, the Iranian rulers conquered the Sindh area and named it Hindustan. So you should write down this term, the Sindh area, Hindustan. Hindustan. Hindustan named from which area? Iranian rulers defeated the Sindh area and it generally considered as the Hindustan. So Hindustan is considered as part of the Sindh, part of the Sindh by Iranian rulers. Okay, Iranian rulers. We find continuing efforts to establish linguistic and cultural unity in India. In the 3rd century BC, Prakrit served as the lingua franca across the major part of India. So Prakrit was language, and script was we will move. We will consider that is Brahmi. Brahmi was script and Prakrit was language. During the Mauryan period, this language was used to speak or to talking with each other, and they when they write, they used the Brahmi script. That is in present day we are writing an Hindi language, that is the script is known as Devanagari. Okay, so later Sanskrit acquired the same position and served as the state language in the remotest parts of India. This process was conspicuous during the Gupta period in the 4th century. Although India witnessed the rise of numerous small states during the post-Gupta period, the official documents were written in Sanskrit. Another notable fact is that the ancient epics The Ramayana and the Mahabharata were studied with the same zeal and devotion in the land of the Tamils as in the intellectual circles of Banaras and Takshila. So, understood this that Ramayana and Mahabharata were written during ancient time period, and they generally consider they were written after the Sangam literature were written, because Sangam literature has most ancient text uh, as not considered as Vedas, but they generally consider written in early 3rd century BC, 4th to 3rd century BC. Okay, and Ramayana and Mahabharata in the north written by scholars in the zeal of Sangam literature. That should you understand this? How? Because when literatures were written, were being written in the south, the people in the north considered also they will write large number of books, or they also written two epics, important epics, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata, not with voluntary, but they wrote these epics because of the zeal of the Sangam literature. Okay, Tamil as in the intellectual circles of Banaras and Takshila. Originally composed in Sanskrit, various versions of these epics were produced in different local languages. However, whatever in the form in which Indian cultural values and ideas were expressed, the substance remained largely the same throughout India. Indian history is especially worthy of our attention because of a peculiar type of social system which developed in India. In North India, the Varna or caste system developed, which eventually spread throughout the country and influenced even the Christians and the Muslims. Even converts to Christianity and Islam continued to follow some of their old caste practices of Hinduism, because Hinduism practiced the Varna or caste system. First of all, we consider Varna system, and Varna system was divided into Varna system is based on the occupational practice, such as Varna system is divided into four Varnas, such as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. They were generally considered that as per the occupational practices. If you if you practice, or if you like read and telling knowledge to others, then you will be considered as the Brahmin. And if you fight for your country, your people, your territory, your tribe, then you will be considered as the Kshatriya. And if you get into trade from one place to another, and generally you build if you build your guild system, that is the merchant guilds, we can say in the practice in the during the ancient period. Okay, so if you like trade in commodities to exchange, as you practice like barter system, or the buying and selling as like in the market system is running. Okay, so you will be considered as the Vaishyas. And if you practice the lower social practice, such as scavenging, sorry yes practice lowest work, which are in the form of untouchables. Okay, so you will be considered as the Sudras. Okay, not Sudras, but you will if you serve all three varnas, then you will be considered as the Sudras. And untouchables were those which were being living in the outside of village. Okay, in the forest areas or outside of the village or surrounding not premises in village, but they lived far village. Okay, so they will be generally considered as untouchables. So untouchables are not part of the varna system, but after varna system the caste system was developed, and many number of caste within the varna system were developed, such as Brahmin divided into multiple number of Brahmins and Kshatriya divided into multiple number of Kshatriyas. Okay, so these are very different with each other, and they also generally consider themselves as a superior to within the Varna system. Okay, so you need to cover these through your general understanding, not you will need to write all these things which are crowding in your notes, generally not you don't write need to write all these things. Next, the relevance of the past to the present. So second significance is the first is unity in diversity. Second significance is the relevance of the past to the present. So you will need to write the relevance of the past to the present. Okay, to the present. The study of India's past assumes a special significance in the context of the problems we currently face. Some people clamor for the restoration of ancient culture and civilization, and a substantial number are sentimentally swayed by what they consider to be the past glories of India. Okay, this is different from a concern for the preservation of ancient heritage in art and architecture. What they really want to bring back in is the old pattern of society and culture. This demands a clear and correct understanding of the past. This is no doubt that Indians of old made remarkable progress in a variety of fields, such as uh, the irrigation system projects, multiple projects which were being built by many number of kings. Okay, and the scientific technological science and technology and art and architecture, remarkable art and architecture they built in ancient time. But these advances alone cannot enable us to compete with the achievements of modern science and technology, which is very remarkable, and we are ahead for our time from our the current time. We cannot ignore the fact that ancient Indian society was marked by gross social injustice. The lower orders, particularly the Sudras and untouchables, were encumbered with disabilities which are shocking to the modern mind. Similarly, law and custom discriminate against women in favor of men. The restoration of the old way of life will naturally revive and strengthen all these inequities. The success of the ancients in surmounting the difficulties presented by nature and human factors can build our hope and confidence in the future, but any attempt to bring back the past will mean a perpetuation of the social inequity that afflicted India. All this makes is essential for us to understand what the past means. We have many survivals of ancient, medieval, and later times persisting in the present. The old norms, values, social customs, and ritualistic practices are so deeply ingrained in the minds of the people that they cannot easily themselves get rid of them. So many number of rites and rituals which are ingrained in the minds of the people, we generally we often see in the society that most number of practices, evil practices, even we can say evil practices are practicing even today among the society, among the people, like sacrifice of animal in front of their deities. But it is like our right is not to kill any living beings, but we generally consider it is as a sacred thing. But in the eye of law, this is a criminal. Okay, this is a crime, not criminal, but this is a crime, because we should understand that there is no any concept for if we kill any animal to offer our deity to happiness for this, for happiness for our deity, then it is considered as illogical manner. Our we are generally gain our prestige of life to sacrifice uh, the living beings in front of our deity. So this is the crime, not a sacred things which are ingrained in the society. Okay, and we generally we will not be able to consider our freedom from these evil practices. Okay, I like infant mortality, infant we can say suicide, no infant suicide, not infant but child marriage, that we are generally say child marriage is a crime, and most number of society say it is a right. Okay, so these are all things which need to uh, clearly, which need to boycott all these things, but we generally will not be able to get rid of all of them. Okay, unfortunately these survivals inhibit the development of the individuals and the country, and were deliberately fostered in colonial times. India cannot develop rapidly unless such vestiges of the past are eradicated from its society. So if we generally eradicate, we if we eradicate all these evil practices, then we will move in a rapid way to fight or to compete with the western world. And if you don't know, if you don't do that, then the top 10 to 15 or top 10 to 20% generation cannot be able to uh, uh, cannot be able to uh, take India in front of that platform which the world is moving on the scientific way. India cannot develop rapidly, okay, because of all these practices. The caste system and sectarianism hinder the democratic integration and development of India. So caste system is also discriminate the individual rights as well as also hinder the development of the nation. Caste barriers and prejudices do not allow even educated individuals to appreciate the dignity of manual labor and hamper our unification for a common cause. Though women have been enfranchised, their old age-old social subordination prevents them from playing their due role in society, and this is true of the lower orders of society. So we will consider, and even recent in 2023-24, the Parliament passed the Constitutional Amendment Act to give the 33% reservation to women in the Parliament, Lok Sabha as well as State Legislative Assembly. But this act will enact in after 2029, that is generally not considered recent time, that generally women are not appreciated for the quick reforms, because if parliament do that, then it is considered well and good, so that we can generally understand what is right and wrong. Okay, studying the ancient past helps us to deeply examine the subordinate women and promote narrow religious sectarianism. The study of ancient Indian history is therefore relevant not only to those who want to understand the true nature of the past, but also to those who seek to understand the nature of the obstacles that hamper India's progress as a nation. So, these all things which are important for our means point of view, that is what is the significance of ancient Indian history, and what is unity in diversity in terms of another in the society we generally see many number of questions which are asked in the past paper. There is in 2025 as well, UPSC asked uh, a question related to unity in diversity. So this is the important for mains point of view as well as prelims point of view, because this chapter is not considered as important as for prelims perspective. This is only for mains perspective. And in the next lecture we will move to the second uh, chapter, that is modern historians of ancient India. It is also generally considered as it is as important as for mains as compared to the prelims. Okay, so we will discuss this chapter in the next lecture. Keep watching a video, and if you don't subscribe, please subscribe so that you will never miss any update related to these lectures, because these lectures are very important for your revision point of view, for your making running notes, and you will also consider how these resources are too much important for mains point of view. Okay, so because I will tell you how we can tackle the mains question paper, or with a time bound, how we can manage our time. Okay, so keep practicing more number of questions related to these, like ancient India, solve previous year question paper, and as well as the means question which are generally asked in the GS paper 1. Okay, so we will meet in the next lecture. Till then, thanks a lot, and keep watching. Have a good day.